All right, Mary, thank you. President Trump's push to acquire Greenland is sparking concern among U.S. allies, even as he insists it wouldn't happen by force. On Capitol Hill, that idea is facing bipartisan resistance. During a House Rules Committee hearing yesterday, Maryland Representative Steny Hoyer backed an amendment that would block federal funds from being used to invade a NATO ally, warning the move could seriously weaken U.S. alliances.
America has nothing to gain from taking Greenland, but we stand to lose more than anyone else. The ensuing turmoil would severely weaken NATO. NATO has overwhelming support. The thought that America would even consider taking military action this way fills our allies with dread and our adversaries with glee.
The congressman also recently returned from Denmark, where he met with Danish and Greenland leaders as part of a bipartisan delegation focused on strengthening security and cooperation in the Arctic. He's joining us now to help break it all down. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I know you were just part of this bipartisan congressional delegation. You were in Copenhagen. What message were you trying to send both to our allies and to the White House?
Well, the message was to try to calm down this division that has occurred within NATO. It was a bipartisan delegation, members of the Senate, members of the House, and the message we gave was there was overwhelming opposition to the president's suggestion that we would use force against a NATO ally. And in fact, Denmark, one of our best friends and countries that has been with us in almost every battle that we've undertaken to protect freedom in Europe and around the world, so that it made no sense. And Senator Coons, who was our chair, made it very, very clear that none of us were for doing anything with Denmark by force, either armed force or economic force. Denmark has been, since the end of the Second World War, one of our closest allies, one of our closest friends, and in my opinion, probably one of our 3 or 4 strongest allies in the world. So what the president was doing was simply undermining the stability and the trust that is so necessary between allies in confronting Russia and other enemies that may want to cause us harm and undermine our democracy. So that was the message. I think the message was certainly well received, but obviously President Trump has shown great volatility, changes his mind quickly. He tries to bully people. He revels in what he calls the art of the deal, which in many cases is threatening people that he's going to do something awful if they don't agree with him.
Okay, I got to ask you this. So we heard the president, say in Davos that he and NATO's Secretary General have done what he's formed the framework essentially of this future deal with respect to Greenland. We have no really other details on what that even looks like. What's your reaction to that statement from the president?
Well, first of all, I was glad that the president said in his speech at Davos that he wasn't going to use force. But he still kept focused on Denmark becoming in some way part of the United States. The Danes have made it very, very clear, NATO's made it very clear, that Denmark's not for sale. And in any event, as I said yesterday before the Rules Committee, as you showed, Denmark has agreed since 1951 that the United States can take any action that it needs to take to make sure that our security is protected and that whatever bases we want to deploy, whatever monitoring equipment we want to deploy, whatever troops, which have been modest, 300 or less in Greenland. At one time, we had 17 bases on Greenland. We've withdrawn them. They haven't been kicked out. The United States has withdrawn them because they saw the risk substantially reduced. The president has said there are Chinese ships, Russian ships in the area. In our trip to Denmark, we were briefed by our embassy and by others, and that did not seem to be the case.
All right, Congressman.
They did not say that threat existed.
You'll have to forgive me. I'm under some time constraints here. I certainly appreciate the conversation. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be right back.
Very welcome. Thank you.